perhaps, we'll open up the floor, but if you, let's see. I was going to say, like, oh, if you have a great organization or event coming up, like, this would be a great place to plug it. But I don't want it to be a giant thing of, yeah, what's up?
I just want to contextualize what we want to spend our last 20 minutes doing, just a little bit, because, so we've had some good discussions today about the role of media and community in shaping the conversations that we care about. So sometimes it's about leveling the playing field. Sometimes it's about challenging corporate media. Sometimes it's about marginalized voices. But whatever is important, we find important, the question that we want to kind of engage right now is, what are some of the capacities that we need to build, the skills we need to cultivate, and the awarenesses that we need to sharpen? What are those things that we need to be looking at as media leaders, activists, community members, that will allow this conversation to deepen and get stronger? And I want us to just kind of think about the things we throw out in that vein. So, what are the capacities we need to build? What are the skills we need to cultivate? And what are the awarenesses that we need to sharpen that are going to allow us to have better So when we come together and we do this thing in the spring, we're not going to be having the same conversation. The conversation is going to be moved forward, and that depends on what we do today.
Yeah, go ahead.
I had an idea that I was really excited about, but I held on to now because it's not. So, I work for Food Corp in Des Moines, and one of the things that we do as like all the Iowa Food Corp people is we have a weekly where it's literally just, here's some stuff coming up, but also a little Google Doc where it has the same questions every week, like, how are you doing? What's an exciting thing that happened? What's something that really challenged you or like upset you? Blah, blah, blah. And then at the end there's a new question every week. Like right now we have elevating equity and anti-racism in schools, right? In like elementary schools. So the great thing about that I think could be applied here is that if there was a media coalition that we were thinking about but didn't really have like this like physical space for it this time, even just having a weekly model like that where everybody from each organization would just have like a little check-in and keep up in touch with each other and like have a small conversation like that. I don't know if you guys already have that going, but I really value being able to keep up with all my other people.
And that is something that Midwest Telegraph definitely is working towards. And did you get that media coalition? How many people in this room would attend something like that on a weekly basis?
I would virtually.
That's what she
said.
said.
Virtually.
Virtually.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. A virtual thingy, weekly. Okay, so that's awesome. That's like everybody, right? Is there anybody who's just like, no, singer you out? Okay, so, okay, great. Thank you.
Then we can utilize the emails gathered from today. Make sure that you have signed in with your email. We can create a shared space because Google Drive is it's amazing for this type of work that we'll be doing moving forward.
I think in the area of what kind of awareness to sharpen, one important thing that I found in working with like networks of different organizations is like really being intentional about defining what success is. So in this instance, we talked about like is scale success? Is it like more readership of the type of media that you think is good, or is it successful collaborations between different organizations or media outlets, or like it was mentioned like different like internship program, paid internships, like are we basing success off of the number of new programs for interns or whatever, but just like determining those kind of shared, creating a shared vision and being particular about what success looks like.
How to measure it.
And so you're talking about measuring success or being specific about
Right, of like a
success?
network like the one that is being developed, right? Like what is success? How do we know we're going in the right direction. Like just with even issues like, is success, getting the right to adopt our beliefs, or is success having like integrity and our journal, just coming up with those sorts of things?
And for the sake of time, I just want to summarize that you're saying redefining success.
Yeah, collaboratively defining
Collaboratively.
success among network partners.
And then you also touched on the point that Lisa raised earlier. You want to restate that?
No, I don't.
Okay,
actually.
well,
I was actually
you
gonna
say
add on
something
to
else.
it, but,
Well, internships for people.
oh, yeah, I can talk
paid
to that,
internships.
yes, you want.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I was just saying as far as like media entities providing paid internships for students, specifically looking at diversifying the field of media that way, because these kids, they are children, in high school, they are responsible for their younger siblings. They have to buy groceries. They have to be, adults in many ways that non-marginalized children experience, right? So just being mindful of that, and what does that look like for an internship program? Is that training throughout a semester, and then the program or internship starts in the summer, and then it's at 15 an hour, right? Like, what are the ways to be successful? And I wanted to also add to what you were saying, Carolyn, we should probably also, with success, like defining what success looks like, we also need to have SMART goals. So specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. So we need to be very specific with all of those points, so that way we can kind of say, okay, if our goal is to have 10 youth of color in media paid internships, part-time, under 30 hours a week at $15 an hour, then that's our specific goal for success, right? Like, then we can say, okay, we want that by January, right? Or we want that by March. Then that way we have benchmarks, and we're not just saying, oh, it would be nice if, fill in the blank.
You got all that?
I think one of the things I also mentioned was about providing access to people who are new to journalism or new to media, or people who not necessarily have the time to do an internship or have the resources, or who are, wanting to have their voice heard, but, don't have the skills. I think that's what you were talking about as far as how we're going to provide skills for people who want to have more voices involved in reporting and media, and actually have, good skills, not just, we have a ton of bloggers out there that are just blogging whatever the hell they want, but we need to have people who have some form of morals, integrity, as far as the journalistic standards, that kind of thing, and just kind of providing those basic lessons will be very helpful to people who are just trying to get, who want to have a successful blog, and whatever success means. It may be successful as far as having their voice heard, or successful as far as reaching a large population of people, or successful as far as being a voice for people that are usually marginalized, or especially if they're a member of that particular group. So just having that kind of one-on-one journalism, or one-on-one whatever media kind of education for people who want to get into it but don't know how to, or don't feel confident getting in, starting that process.
So is that going to involve, for me, I did audio production, but most of the things that I actually learned and applied came via YouTube College. You know what I mean? So is that going to involve links?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Drop these links in.
Yeah.
A few people out of this Midwest Telegraph Coalition applying critiques for papers, or things like that.
Yeah. Just being, that's what I'm saying, stuff like that, just being actually helpful. We have time, for me, I'm back in the job search, world now. And as far as having, the university provides me the access for people to check my resume, to help me do cover letters, to help me do, do the stuff, because I haven't had applied for a job in like 15 years, so a lot of things have changed. And this could be also for people who maybe they were passionate about journalism maybe 15 years ago, and now they just want to kind of, refresh and, up their game as far as like, what they can do, what is available to them, what resources are available to them, but don't have necessarily the journalism background or don't have the journalism resume. These are just people who just want to, who have a skill for writing or have a skill for articulating themselves in a way, in a verbal way that may need some more assistance as far as getting that voice out through media.
And to summarize that, so skill building and
Almost like a startup,
and
like
a startup kit.
develop a startup.
So a toolkit
Or a
for
refresher.
journalism. And I think some of that could be accommodated in a media institute, especially if we did that like twice a year. But that people could get exposed to those skills, and some of the media entities in this room have some skills to offer. But so skill building for journalistic writing, and also the technical digital side of it as well.
I was going to piggyback on that, something that I've thought about for a while, but as our resources dwindle as a news organization, it's harder for us to do more investigative work and to do things that we would like to do, and we do get, people in the community will call us and say, why don't you do this, why don't you do that, and it's a matter of us being able to have the time and the capacity to do it. Something that I think a lot of times members of the public think that the journalists are privileged to access to certain things, and we're not. It's just that we know how to get it. Like anybody could get, if you wanted to find out what the school district administration was talking about, you could FOIA those records as a member of the public and get those, and you could go through them and then come to us as a newspaper and tell us those kinds of things. But I think it's good to be able to know those kind of tools and understand how you can actually actively seek out investigating.
Can you summarize that, like in 5 words?
Yeah.
How would you say it in 5 words?
I mean, it's kind of the same thing.
Community
Learn
journalists.
open records.
Yeah, teaching.
Privileges.
Yeah, teaching the community open records privileges.
That could be part of the
Open
media
government
institute.
privileges.
Yeah.
And you guys, for the sake of time, and I want to get as many opinions in here as possible, let's blurt. So let's think about brainstorming, be impulsive, just like something occurs to you, say it out loud, and Katie's going to grab it out of the air, throw it into the digital world.
encourage co-ops.
Encourage co-ops,
Don't be biased.
work on our bias, so that's an awareness we need to sharpen, is looking.
Be aware of our biases.
Be aware of our
Can I
biases.
refine that? Fact check.
Fact
Yeah.
check. That's a different topic. Fact checking,
Local focus.
local focus.
Don't assume that youth can't teach us anything, because they could lead some of these workshops.
Are we just
Yes.
talking?
Don't assume, so to flip that to the positive, allow youth to lead us and teach us what they know.
Are we just talking students of color here?
We're talking people.
People of color?
Yeah, we're talking
Just
people.
people of color.
Humans of humans.
Humans of humans. All
Okay, let's keep
the
blurting.
rainbow.
One skill that I think for any kind of network like this to talk about, discuss, can be like just balancing between like kind of reactive journalism and sort of visionary journalism. Do you know what I mean by that?
No, but we'll sort it out later.
Okay.
We are envisioning, we are talking about skill building, capacity building, and how we can sharpen our awareness towards creating an ongoing sustainable conversation between media leaders and and activists in the community. So how do we grow this relationship so that when we get together in the spring, we're gonna be like,
I think the media needs to invite people, activists in.
extend invitations to activists.
Invitations, because people.
Actively seek language evolution, like the ways that we the terms that people want to be used to describe themselves, actively seek those out and incorporate them in our, in our style guides.
Yeah.
I have a suggestion. Go to the Center for Media Justice website and become a member.
Yeah.
How about sponsoring memberships for people who can't afford?
And it's free.
Is it?
And then my second suggestion is join the Midwest Telegraph Co-op. Join. Who's joining?
Yeah.
Yeah. Put your hand up, Lisa.
I said I verbally
I just want to see your hand because it's interactive. Okay.
I'm gonna blurt it out. I think there should be a representative in any organization, media organization or co-op that is actively trying to build bridges with the other, that, I hate to say, but, you know,
Yeah.
the conservatives, the people that, like we're talking about, that read Breitbart, and reading their news
Yeah.
sources. Like, we can't just like live in this world where we like see what is in front of us. We have to, like I said, constantly be looking to what these other people are doing.
Explorers.
And somehow, you know,
To sign up for that,
So we
don't
need visionaries.
pigeonhole people. Try to help people, not any specific group of people.
And how would you flip that to the positive? Instead of a don't, what would you have them do?
Just help as many people as possible. Just make sure your group is open to.
So approach
making
others with an
everyone
open mind as opposed to
Yeah.
pigeonholing. So approach others with an
Yeah.
open
Be
mind. And this is
curious.
about relating to difference also, right? Yeah, you know?
Keep your
I'm
friends
just gonna
close and your enemies closer.
approach objectivity from a perspective of equity instead of equality.
There you go.
Anti-racism.
Yeah.
Apply,
Read that Matthew. I'm sorry.
model, or apply holistic model holistically, I guess.
Yeah.
Can you say
That feels good.
a bit more about it?
Well, as far as like the traditional business model, a lot of things are conversion, not converging, but they're converting and they're changing as far as co-ops, holistic business models. And so if we embrace that, you know, it's like a household, you know, it's not necessarily, if we remain agile, you know, in our positions,
Yeah.
we're gonna be more aware
Right.
and we can help each other
Right.
out that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perhaps within this too is building the capacity to hold media outlets accountable in one way or the other for being inclusive or not being,
Being inclusive.
amplifying those that are doing
Yeah.
well, maybe bringing attention to those who aren't, or even
Mhm.
specific
Yeah.
reporters,
Yeah.
celebrating those who are inclusive
Yeah.
and modeling what kind of
Be
reporting
inclusive
they want.
and resilient. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very good.
That's really a good idea.
So you guys, we have 2 minutes. And I would like to get a show of hands of people who can help put the room back. Perfect. So that's about half of us, so we don't have to worry about that. Second, how do people feel about doing a round robin and you have one word checkout of how you're feeling, what you're doing, anything? You can do 1 or 2 word checkout. How do people feel about that?
Go.
Okay, let's start with the lady over here.
I'm Carolyn, and I'm feeling pensive. This was a lot to think about today and inspired.
My name is Dawson, and I am motivated to get to work.
Diana, invigorated. Okay.
Diana, invigorated.
Katie, I'm hopeful.
I'm Josh. I'm a little more hopeful. not than you, just because I was before.
I'm Connie and I'm optimistic.
And I'm thoughtful.
Agile.
Confused? Say it again?
Confused.
Chris, Fayetteville.
I'm Tisha, I'm overwhelmed.
I'm Nicole, and I don't know. I'm a lot of things. I contain multiple.
Yeah, Demita, overcoming discouragement.
Rod, okay.
Eric, I'm also hopeful. Good.
I don't know.
Synchronized.
that could help?
Informed.
Tired but hopeful.
Connected but overwhelmed.
Well, with that, I would like to thank the people who co-sponsored this, Press Citizen, Little Village, Iowa Watch, and Midwest Telegraph. Was there another one? Okay. And also the media, people who showed up, Slate Magazine, Gazette Magazine, who I guess they're gone already. And
Daily Eye.
DI is here, I didn't know that, sorry. Who's that, where are they? Welcome. And also invite people to come to Midwest Telegraph first Monday Brown Bag Lunch. We have it every first Monday of the month, and it meets at Beatology. And you can come and network about things you're working on, or you can just come and help Midwest. Or you can just come and eat your lunch with sane people. So thank you all for being here.